779,000 Americans are paying a Medicare penalty, not for a year, every month for the rest of their lives. And almost none of them did anything reckless. They just walked past a door without knowing it was there and it locked behind them. On average, they're paying 27% more than they should every single month until the day they die. Not because they're careless people, because nobody sat them down and explained the order of operations. So here's my promise to you. The way I count it, there are 7 of these doors before you turn 65. 7 windows that once they shut, lock you out for good. Miss one, and no amount of money or paperwork gets you back through it. But walk through all 7 in order, and no Medicare penalty can ever touch you for the rest of your life. I'm going to show you every one, where it is, and the exact day it slams shut. So before we even get to door 1, go ahead and subscribe, because you do not want to walk past one of these without knowing it's there. Let me be clear about the word I keep using, door, not deadline. And that difference is the whole video. A deadline you can reschedule. You miss it, you apologize, you pick a new date. A door is not like that. A door has a moment it closes, and once it's closed, the thing on the other side is gone. You don't get it back. And the worst part? Most of these doors close earlier than anyone expects. Some of them are already closing while you're still waiting for a letter that's never coming. Here's what's literally on the other side. In 2026, your standard Part B premium is $202.90 a month. The late penalty? It's 10% on top of that, for every 12 months you should have signed up and didn't. And that 10% is permanent. It doesn't expire when you finally enroll. It rides along with you every month for as long as you have Medicare. Worse, and remember this because we come back to it, that penalty grows. The percentage stays the same, but it's calculated against the premium. And the premium climbs almost every year, so the penalty climbs with it. That 779,000 figure, that's about 1 in every 77 enrollees paying the Part B late penalty. And that's the most recent count we have. It is not a warning on a poster. It's people. So let's make sure you're not one of them. 7 doors, in order. And the first one is already open. Door number 1, your 7-month window. The official name is the initial enrollment period, but forget the name. Picture a window that's exactly 7 months wide. And here's the part that catches almost everybody. That window does not open on your 65th birthday. By the time you blow out the candles, it's already been open for 3 months. Sit with that for a second. People say, I'll just sign up when I turn 65. On paper, that sounds responsible. But the window opens 3 months before the month you turn 65, stays open during your birthday month, and closes 3 months after. So if your birthday's in July, your window runs April through October, 7 months, which means the day you actually turn 65, you're standing in month 4. Over half the window is already behind you. Now here's the part that costs people. Inside that window, not all months are equal. If you enroll in those first 3 months before your birthday month even arrives, your coverage kicks in the first day of your birthday month. No gap, clean. That is the only way to start with 0 gap. What if you wait? Say you sign up in your birthday month. A lot of people think coverage starts that same month. It doesn't. Under the newer 2023 rules, your coverage won't begin until the first of the following month. That's a 1-month gap. And any month after your birthday is the same story. At least a month with no coverage. So enrolling on time in your birthday month still leaves you with a hole. Earlier is the only clean play. And if your birthday happens to land on the first of the month, everything shifts a month earlier. Your window, your start date, all of it. But here's the misconception that really burns people. Folks think, if I miss my window, I'll just catch the next open enrollment in the fall. No, you won't. That fall enrollment you've seen on TV, October to December, that is for switching plans. It is not for signing up for the first time. If you miss your window entirely, you wait for something called the general enrollment period, January through March, and you walk out of it with that lifetime Part B penalty stapled to you. So
Timing matters, but timing only matters if you even know you're supposed to sign up at all.
Which is door number 2. And door 2 is the one I see wreck the most people. Door number 2. Part A is free, so I'm covered. If you've worked about 10 years, your Part A is premium free. About 99% of people qualify for that. And it feels like you're set. You've got Medicare, it costs you nothing, done. Except Part A only covers one thing, the hospital. Inpatient stays, that's it. It does not cover your doctor visits, not outpatient procedures, not your lab work, not your x-rays, not a wheelchair or a walker. All of that lives in Part B, the part with the premium and its own separate permanent penalty if you skip it. Let me tell you about Alan Craig, because this one stays with me. Craig turned 65 and was covered on his wife's work plan through Cigna. When she lost that job, the couple went on to Cobra, figuring reasonably that Cobra was the same coverage. He had arthroscopic knee surgery. He even got a letter approving it. And then Cigna turned around and refused to pay roughly $20,000 because he should have been on Medicare Part B by then, and he wasn't. After the Boston Globe wrote about it, Cigna reversed and paid. But Craig, he's paying a Part B late penalty for the rest of his life. Now hold on. Cobra looked exactly like real insurance. Same card, same network. So why didn't it protect him? Keep that question. We answer it at door 3. And one more thing to file away. Whether Medicare signs you up automatically or whether nothing happens until you act, that depends entirely on your situation. We settle that at door 7. Door number 3, you're still working, or on Cobra, or your spouse's plan. This is the one with the highest regret, and it might be you. So let me give you the one test that actually keeps you safe. There's a rule, the 20-employee rule. You can delay Part B without any penalty only if two things are both true. You are actively working, and your employer has 20 or more employees on that group plan. Both, at the same time. If your employer has fewer than 20 people, Medicare becomes your primary insurance at 65, whether you're working or not. You have to enroll, no delay. And here's Craig's answer. Cobra does not count. The law does not see Cobra as coverage from a current job because it isn't one. The moment your active job ends or your employer coverage ends, whichever comes first, your clock starts running. Not when Cobra ends. People pay for 18 months of Cobra thinking they're protected, and the whole time the penalty clock is ticking behind their back. Same story for retiree health plans from a former employer. Same story for a plan you bought yourself on the marketplace. Neither one lets you delay Part B. Now, if you're not working but your spouse is, and their employer has 20 plus people, then yes, you can ride on their active plan and delay. That one works. So the only safe test, the one to actually say out loud, am I currently employed and is the employer 20 people or more? If the honest answer is no, you cannot safely wait on Part B. And I have to warn you, HR departments get this wrong routinely. They mean well. They're also not the ones who pay your penalty, which leaves the obvious question. When your job does end, when does that clock actually start, and is the time it gives you really enough? That's door 4. Door number 4, 2 clocks running at once. When you retire and your active coverage ends, you get a special window to sign up for Part B, 8 months, and the clock starts on whichever comes first, your last day of work or your last day on that plan. 8 months sounds generous. Hold that thought, because there's a second clock. For your drug coverage, Part D, the window after you lose that employer drug plan is not 8 months. It's 63 days, a little over 2 months. Both clocks start the very same moment you lose coverage, but the drug clock expires nearly 6 months before the other one. And if you miss those 63 days, you get a permanent Part D penalty, even if you nailed your Part B enrollment perfectly. I assumed it was one clock for everything when I first learned this. It is not. And that 8 months for Part B, it's smaller than it sounds. Once you factor in the retirement paperwork and the form your old employer has to sign, that's the CMS-L564, the request for employment information, my honest advice is to treat the first 60 days as your real window. If HR is slow with that signature, the time bleeds away fast.
One more wrinkle.
For your drug plan to let you skip Part D safely, it has to be what's called creditable, meaning it's expected to pay at least as much as a standard Medicare drug plan. And the rules here are tightening. For 2026, employers can still use the older, looser standard, but a stricter one is coming. It becomes mandatory in 2027, and some plans that pass today will not pass then. So you can't just assume your drug coverage counts. You have to check yours in writing. You'll notice I keep saying penalty. Let me stop being vague about it. At door 5, I'm going to put a real dollar figure on it, one that doesn't go away. Door number 5, the penalty in actual dollars. Here's exactly how it works. 10% added to your Part B premium for every full 12 months you went without it, permanent, and recalculated each year against the current premium. Let's put real numbers on the 2026 premium of $202.90. Delay 2 years, that's 20%. 20% of $202.90 is $40.58. Extra every month for life. That's $487 a year you're handing over for nothing. Delay 7 years, that's 70%. $142.03 extra a month, pushing your premium to $344.93 every month for the rest of your life. And remember what I told you back at the start. The penalty grows. The percentage is locked, but the dollars aren't. As the premium climbs over the years, your $40 becomes more. The first number is the shock. The lifetime total is the real damage. Same thing on the drug side. 1% of the $38.99 base premium for every month you went uncovered. Also permanent. And if you fell through the cracks and had to use that January to March general enrollment period, you pay this penalty for life on top of it. So what actually gets you out of the Part B penalty? Active coverage from a 20-plus employer, federal employee benefits, Medicaid, and here's where I have to stop you because this trips up a lot of people. VA coverage by itself does not protect you. Plenty of folks assume the VA card covers them. It does not exempt you from the Part B penalty. And TRICARE for Life? That one actually requires Part B. If you skip it, you can lose that coverage. So if the VA or TRICARE is in your picture, do not assume. Confirm exactly what's required. COBRA, as you now know, is not on the safe list at all. But there's a second surcharge most people have never even heard the name of. And here's the cruel part. It can hit you even if you did everything I just said perfectly. That's door 6. Door number 6. The income cliff they call IRMAA. IRMAA is an extra charge on your Part B and your Part D based on your income. And the trap is the timing. In 2026, they don't look at what you make now. They look back 2 years at your 2024 income. The cliff is at $109,000 for an individual. Go $1 over, just one, and you're hit with $81.20 extra a month on Part B, plus $14.50 on Part D. That's $95.70 a month, $1,148.40 a year per person. For a married couple, the threshold is $218,000, and it doubles. And here's why people get blindsided. There's no form to fill out, no opt-in, no warning letter. The first sign most folks get is a Social Security check that's suddenly smaller than they expected. Now you might be telling yourself, that's for rich people, not me. Careful. Remember, it's looking back 2 years, so your final big working year counts. Selling a house counts. A large 401k withdrawal or a Roth conversion counts. You could be living on $30,000 a year in retirement and still get hit because of one good year 2 years ago. But here's the part nobody tells you. There's an escape hatch. It's a form, the SSA 44. If you had a real life-changing event, you retired, you stopped working, your spouse passed away, you divorced, you can generally appeal, and they'll use your newer, lower income instead. One catch. A Roth conversion or a home sale does not count as a life-changing event. Retirement does. So that's 6 doors. 5 of them are about money. But the last one isn't. The last door is about your actual health and your future care. And it's the one most people lock without ever realizing the door was there. Door number 7. the Medigap door, and where you actually sign up. When you turn 65 and you're on Part B, a 6-month window opens. During those 6 months, you can buy a Medigap plan, that supplement that fills the holes in original Medicare. And the insurance company cannot ask you a single health question, can't deny you, can't charge you more for being sick. One time, 6 months. After that window closes, in 46 states, the company can pull your health history and turn you down or charge you a lot more for any pre-existing condition. And this is where the one-way door really bites. About 55% of people pick Medicare Advantage instead, usually because of that zero premium pitch you see on TV. What the ad doesn't say is what's underneath it. Prior authorization for nearly everything, an out-of-pocket cap that runs around $5,421 in-network, and a door that may not open back up. Richard Timmons, a retired veterinarian on Whidbey Island, went with an Advantage plan. Then he was diagnosed with melanoma and found he couldn't switch back to Medigap because now he had a condition. His words, he has very little control over my actual medical care. Have you ever felt boxed in by a decision a salesman walked you into? Tell me in the comments, especially if you found a way back out, because a lot of people watching need to hear it. I'm not telling you which to pick. That's your call, and it depends on your life. I'm telling you to make it while the door is open, with your eyes open. And finally, where do you actually do all this? Here's the part the name gets wrong. Parts A and B go through Social Security, ssa.gov or 1-800-772-1213. You're only signed up automatically if you're already drawing Social Security. Otherwise, nothing happens until you act. Part D and Advantage, those you choose on Medicare.gov. But a Medigap policy? You don't buy that from Social Security and you don't buy it from Medicare.gov either. You buy it directly from a state-licensed private insurance company. 3 different doors, 3 different places. And if you're working past 65, you'll need 2 forms, the CMS-40B and that L564 your employer signs. One more thing, Social Security is short-staffed right now, offices have been strained, phone waits are brutal, so apply early. Do not wait around to be reminded because nobody's going to remind you. All right, take a breath. Let's lock in all 7 fast so you can hold them in your head or send them to someone who needs them tonight. Door 1. Your window opens 3 months before your birthday, not on it, and only those first 3 months give you coverage with no gap. Door 2. Part A is the hospital only, Part B is everything else, and you have to choose it. Door 3. You can only delay if you're actively working at a 20-plus employer. COBRA does not count. Door 4. When you retire, 2 clocks start. 8 months for Part B, but only 63 days for your drugs. Door 5. The late penalty is 10% a year, permanent, and it grows. And the VA alone won't save you from it. Door 6. IRMAA looks back 2 years, and Form SSA 44 is how you fight it. Door 7. The Medigap window is 6 months and one time only, and you buy that policy from a private insurer, not from Social Security and not from Medicare.gov. That's the whole thing. 7 doors. And here's what just changed. You are now the person who knows where every one of them is and the exact day each one shuts. The 779,000 people paying that penalty, almost none of them had this list. You do. Walk through all 7 in order, on time, and there is no Medicare penalty left that can ever touch you. If this made the picture finally click for you, do me one favor. Subscribe. This channel is about your rights, explained clearly, with no jargon and no sales pitch. And then send this to anyone you know who's turning 65 or anyone helping a parent through it. This is exactly the kind of thing a person finds out too late, and one share from you could save them thousands of dollars and a lifetime penalty. And if Door 6 rattled you a little, that IRMAA surcharge that shows up out of nowhere, that's the one I'm breaking all the way down next. Who really gets hit and how to actually win an appeal. I'll see you there.